Manchester United might be risking losing out on Matheus Fernandes. Latest information is saying that Spurs have put together a bid and a package totaling about 85 million, which is rumoured to be the exact amount of money that West Ham want for Matheus Fernandes. This is going to be the lead story. There are a few other stories as well to cover regarding Alex Scott, regarding TCHOUAMENI. I did see something about Lewis Hall, but at the moment, I think that's a bit on the kind of optimistic side. Does Lewis Hall want to leave? I'm not sure. Unless we actually get some more credible sources, I'm probably going to leave the Lewis Hall situation at the moment. But if you're watching on a replay, please don't forget to like, subscribe if you're new. And if you're watching live, then this is your opportunity over the next kind of like 30, 40 minutes to put into the comments what you think Man United should be doing. Are you concerned about this transfer strategy? So just to reiterate, Manchester United, this is a serious threat by Spurs, and it's not necessarily that Man United are going to be outbid. It's that Man United are not even at the table. They're not putting money on the table and making an offer. Spurs are being very aggressive in this window. Again, this is a bit like Newcastle being aggressive with Sesko, but the difference could be that West Ham and maybe Matheus Fernandes as well, maybe they're happy with a move to Spurs, and maybe it's going to generally be whoever bids the most is going to get the deal done. And it might be also that Spurs are supposed to have also offered personal terms to Matheus Fernandes at a level which Manchester United are not happy to match either. So it seems that Man United are not going to be offering Matheus Fernandes as good a deal as Spurs is going to be. So if it comes down to purely money, and that's the only motivating factor, then Matheus Fernandes will be going to Spurs. That seems to be the story. So again, is it time to panic, or is this just irrelevant, and is this just another story and Man United move on? So this is going to be, the whole Fernandes only wanted us. Yeah, if that was the case, he would be here. If Fernandes came out and said this, and I said this a while ago, if Fernandes came out and said, I want Man United, I think we just see a lot of these other rumours shut down, don't we? So maybe he is a mercenary. Maybe it's going to be Matheus the mercenary going to Spurs. Maybe that's the case. And maybe, people that thought he was going to be joining Man United and Man United leading the race, maybe were just misled. Just to quickly also get your comments regarding this story as well. So is it a blow if we lose out on Matheus Fernandes? Is it also a concern? I should actually point out as well that Sully Talks is putting the Man United perspective out, saying that from what he's seen and all the journalists, like Sully doesn't tend to tweet too often. So he tweeted this morning of, I think, or late last night, and the previous one was June the 20th. So he's not particularly putting out information there for clicks and likes and things. And he said, according to his sources as well, he still genuinely believes Manchester United are going to remain confident they're going to get Matheus Fernandes. So despite some of these stories coming out saying Spurs are going to win the race, Spurs are going to get this deal done, apparently Man United are still confident. The one thing that did make me think about Man United potentially holding out for a different deal, and this is the TCHOUAMENI story, is that apparently we know what TCHOUAMENI's salary is. It's about 200k. There's going to be potential bonuses as well, which are going to push it up to maybe like 250, something like that. Kind of like these salaries are approximate, but apparently Man United admire the player, but they're not happy to go up for that sort of price. Which I think didn't City pay Mark Gahey 300k, and they're rumored to be offering Elliot Anderson 300k. So I don't know, this wage structure. I think it's good not to give. It's obviously good not to throw money at players, but at some point you've got to accept that players are going to have to. You're going to have to pay players if you want them to come to your club. And so let me know your thoughts. I'll go through some of the questions, what people are thinking. Yeah, we're going to mess this up, says Bilal. So yeah, please vote in the chat. At the moment it's 50-50 whether United, but again, it's a bit early to panic, but it does. Some of the signs are not looking great, are they? Is it 250 fixed, 50 bonus, 300k? Yeah, I thought Mark Gahey was on 300k a week, so it shows that this is kind of the sort of salaries that Man City are paying. If Man United are prepared to go into a transfer window pretending that we've got the budget at Burnley, we're going to have a massive struggle getting any quality into our team. Until I see Fernandes holding up a shirt, I won't believe either way, says D-Hex. No, I think the rumour is that West Ham need to get some money by the 30th of June. So that's only 5 days away. So you'd imagine that by the end of the weekend, we should be like Spurs are going in quite hard. So it seems that if Spurs are genuinely going to get this deal done, we should see something quite quickly, shouldn't we? The only thing about Man United is a lot of people are thinking Manchester United are waiting till the 1st of July to get this deal done, or waiting for the 1st of July to do some proper expenditure. But we'll have to see. We go on this one. DHEC saying the issue with this board is that they wait till a sure thing to a large extent. I suppose with this one that with Manchester United, it seems that we want the player to pretty much come out and say, "Please sign me, Man United. You're the only club I want." And that's just not realistic for a lot of players. It might have been true for Cunha. Cunha wanted to join Manchester United, but it's not going to be true for a lot of other players. Other players are going to be looking at a range of clubs, and they're going to be looking for some of them are going to be looking for the best offer. Manchester United didn't sign Wayne Rooney because we waited around to see if anybody else wanted him. We had to make a significant offer. And it's the same with Rio Ferdinand. We gave Rio Ferdinand a huge salary. These players don't just magically arrive at your club. It's like we can say Spurs are desperate, but could be getting these deals done. Andy says if Spurs are offering these big wages to the new signings that come into their club, so the old players there are going to start kicking off. I think Spurs are paying decent salaries already. Like a few, I think the salary for I'm trying to think who it was now. Gallagher's getting 200k a week, so he's getting paid more than most Man United players already. Spurs, I'm not sure what they're offering Matheus Fernandes, but I would imagine that Man United would look at Matheus Fernandes on the sort of contract we gave. If you think about it, we gave the contract we gave to Yoro, the sort of contract that we gave to maybe Kobe Mainu. Actually, Mainu has been at the club for a bit longer, so I'm imagining that Man United have got an idea that if they're going to sign a 21-year-old, they're not going to pay him a crazy salary. And maybe Spurs are offering similar to Gallagher. So maybe Spurs are offering like the sort of money we gave Cunha and Buemo. So maybe Man United are just pitching a bit too low for this one. I don't think Spurs are going insane. I think Spurs are just paying or offering slightly more. And Man United would not be happy. Like we wouldn't have got Gallagher and given him a salary above what we gave him Buemo and Sesko and Cunha, would we? So again, United are trying to get things done on the cheap. And if this is true, and again, we'd have to see it's holding up the shirt, that it would, for me, would be a bit expensive. So again, I will say this that if he does turn down this for Spurs, then yeah, a mercenary turn. Maybe if he thinks Spurs are a stepping stone to a bigger club, maybe that's going to be an issue as well. So realistically, we are far apart in terms of finances than say City, Madrid. So they're always in the Champions League. They have sold better players actually, and I would say regarding this one that Man United financially in the short term, okay, in the short term. But the thing is, United that we shouldn't be behind Spurs at all, should we? So I think if you look at long term, like Man United will be always behind Real Madrid until we get back into the Champions League positions. I think City have got the advantage for sure. But I think for Man United have got a lot of borrowing capacity, despite I know people are saying that City got more money, etc. But despite not being in the Champions League, Manchester United's turnover was only about £30 million less than like Liverpool and City. So it's not a big difference. We're not talking about like £100 million, £200 million. We're talking like similar sort of budgets. Like despite like Man United is commercially incredibly successful, despite not being in the Champions League. We have the highest sponsorship deals, and that's probably going to remain the case. And we are in the Champions League next year, so the money's going to be there in the future. I think United is the one club that can survive dropping out of the Champions League a little bit, but they can't keep doing it. Yeah, exactly. I said this yesterday that it would make a very strange one as well. So Gallagher 160. Okay, I'd seen like stories pushing the price up a little bit more, but maybe it's including bonuses. Maybe some sources including net. Where's the bet says the sooner we walk away from the transfer, the better. Average midfielder with an extortionate price tag. Do you remember Xavi Simons? Like I think people can disagree on their view on Xavi Simons. When we're talking about Mbeumo, I wasn't very keen on Xavi Simons. One thing I would say actually is I think Cunha is only 2 goals away from being the most prolific Manchester United player at a World Cup ever. So I think the most is Van Persie on 4 goals. Rashford got three. I think there's someone else that got three. It might have been Lukaku or somebody like that. But no, Matheus Cunha already got 3 goals. He could be in line to be Man United's most prolific player at a World Cup. And so, um, obviously, not good news for Spurs. So not Spurs. Not obviously not good news for Scottish fans. But again, the World Cup's a bit weird at the moment, where there's quite a lot that could happen. I think at the moment we don't know who's going to be, getting through to the knockout stage. Oh yeah, there's a stadium. They do have the stadium. The thing is, if Spurs are prepared to offer more money, then there's a reason why Spurs can pay big salaries. They don't have a lot of, like, their wage bill is pretty low. And the thing is, Manchester United's wage bill is actually very low as well, considering the players that have left the club. So I think there's a bit of an obsession with the budget at the moment with Man United, and I get the feeling that this is about profit for the Glazers and Ineos a bit more than it is about getting the best players in the team. But no, I think with Isabella, I think you might be happy then that I'd imagine based on this, if this is true, and more than one sources are saying the same sort of thing, if Spurs are happy to pay 85, and this was said yesterday, last night, and actually I was talking to Dora, probably was it yesterday or the day before, 85 million was the price tag that Spurs are prepared to pay. It sounds crazy, but if Spurs are prepared to pay it, I don't think Man United should go in with like, okay, we'll pay 90. Like, he's not worth 85 million. He's not worth 75 million. So we'd have to look at this. Is he better than Mainu? Definitely not at the moment. So the question is going to be, like, what's Man United's better option? Who do we go for? And this is why this story is a bit of a concern. That if you're talking about spending big money on Matheus Fernandes, okay, we can't advocate that. It doesn't make sense. There's no way you're going to give a 21-year-old a massive contract. But what about somebody that's already won everything there is to win in world football? Like, we're literally talking about Tchouaméni, who's won the World Cup. He's, 99% on duels is something ridiculous. He's like one of the best progressive passers in Europe. And some of the things he can do in terms of like certain parameters of the game are just unmatched. And are we not prepared to give him the sort of contract we gave Casemiro 5 years ago? We're not prepared to give him the sort of contract we gave Mason Mount. It doesn't make any sense. Like, giving Mason Mount £250,000 a week is stupid. Refusing, if too many was genuinely available, and it's still a big ask, if too many was available, not spending the money on him wouldn't make any sense at all. Like, it just wouldn't make any sense. So I think with this one, Ryan, all I'll say is Sydney Sweeney and Susan Boyle. That's quite extreme, isn't it? It's quite extreme. That's like going from Champions League to grassroots, like tier 8 or 9, isn't it? Um, no, my room's quite hot, and the more I think about the transfers, it's kind of making me get more annoyed. And I try to be quite calm. Yeah, usually I'm quite, what's the word? Usually I don't really care, but I don't care what prices the players cost. I'm not bothered by how much they cost. But when I first saw that, when we first started talking about Matheus Fernandes, and people said West Ham won 85 million, I just started laughing, thinking, "There's no way, there's no way he's worth 85 million. If he goes for 85 million, I bet there's like zero scrutiny on Spurs. Like, no one's going to give a shit what someone does at Spurs. Like, no one cares about Xavi Simmons. What did Xavi Simmons do last year? Like, literally nothing, and nobody cares how much he costs or how much he gets paid. But if he joined Man United, I think people would be expecting Man United to win the league or something crazy. Well, I did see that you got some issues with your account, Rob. And is there a reason why you changed your name to Rob New Spurs? Because I was going to say, if you're going to jump ship from Man United, you picked a weird time because we're third in the league. Spurs are in a relegation fight. Unless like you're on the Matheus Fernandes train and it's driving you towards that shiny new stadium in London, I don't know. I know it's an accident, but I don't know why you changed your name. No, I remember when I changed my YouTube name to because I had to rebrand to United TV. And as soon as you change it, you're kind of locked in for 2 weeks. But it could have been worse, Rob. It could have been worse. You could have changed your name to something much worse than Rob New Spurs. And I was going to give some examples, but they're probably not the sort of things I can say in a live stream. But there's a lot of things you could have named yourself worse than that one. BHU Jeff says, our total lack of movement on getting out dead wood of the club is doing your head in. I mean, the problem is if you sign crap players and you give them very big salaries, it makes it tricky, doesn't it? That I think Mason Mount, we're going to have to like loan him out. I think Anana might get loaned out as well. I mean, Mason Mount played games, didn't he? So the only problem is Mason Mount gets paid 250,000 a week, doesn't he, or something like that. I would actually be. I'm going to say this for real. Despite being annoyed about most things Man United at the second in time, I think this could be definitely, definitely a positive move. If Man United went right, forget Matheus Fernandes. There's no value in that deal. Boadi Sangare, how much can we get these players for? And go straight to them. I would be happy. The obvious player that Man United have been linked to, and this is one where again we can have a debate about whether Alex Scott is better than Matheus Fernandes. He was expected to be cheaper, but this story I came up. Unfortunately, when I looked at news this morning, every single story that came out just annoyed me slightly. So it kind of had like a build on up effect. And the story regarding Bournemouth and Alex Scott is that Bournemouth don't see Alex Scott as a player they want to sell. Surprise, surprise. They want a lot of money. It just feels a bit like every single transfer story. Do you remember how the window started? And the window started with Manchester United, Elliot Anderson as our top target. Okay, you fast forward a few weeks and then go, okay, Elliot Anderson's a bit too expensive. We're going to go for Matheus Fernandes. Okay, so we all jump on the Matheus Fernandes train. Well, some of us are just at the station going, actually, that train's too expensive. And then the Matheus Fernandes train doesn't really get going. And then eventually we have conversations where it seems that Spurs want to spend more money and we're just going to be, okay, right, well, this train's a bit expensive. Let's have a look at the Alex Scott train. And that's not even for sale, apparently. But I bet it is for sale. If Man United start looking at 60, 70, 80 million pounds, Alex Scott is for sale. Like Alex Scott is only not for sale because they want a certain amount of money. I mean, Alex Scott is like a 50 million pound player, and it might cost maybe like 55 to 60, but then you've got to look at it and say, if Bournemouth know that Man United wanted Elliot Anderson, Manchester United also wanted TCHOUAMENI, they wanted Tonali, they wanted Fernandes. That's four players now. If there's four players we've been priced out of, and then we're kind of like, I'm not saying like we're scraping the barrel, but there's four players we're actually not getting because we're priced out of. If this is genuine, then if we go for Alex Scott, aren't we going to see the same story over and over again? Like Alex Scott is, he's apparently not signing a new contract. That's true, Yali, which is a slight bit of positive, but he's not going to be that cheap. I think he's still under contract for a couple of years, isn't he? So it's not going to be someone that we can suddenly. They, I would say Spurs will have Tonali and Fernandez next season. Well, I hope they like relegation fights because Spurs used to have Harry Kane and Son, and they won nothing when they had those two players. So I don't think Tonali and Fernandez are going to transform Spurs, but it should be enough to avoid relegation. Put it that way. It should be enough to avoid that one. I did say someone said that Rob that are you worried that we'll become the new Spurs because Spurs are doing what Man United used to do actually. So maybe Spurs becoming the new Man United where they're just spending money like they don't care about how much they got. Yeah, no, Mount wages are higher than too many. Exactly. If Man United are not prepared to, if Man United are not prepared to spend say 250k a week on too many, we can't really expect someone else to look at Mason Mount and go, 250, that's a good use of £250,000 a week. Won't say, let's pay £1 million a month to get someone that potentially can do something, but more realistically is not going to be great over the whole season. No, it might be that Man United have to look in other leagues, and I'm not going to say that's a negative either, because at the moment, I think there's definitely a situation at the moment where the Premier League's got so much money that any player that's playing in the Premier League is just going to cost loads because the clubs are wealthy. So it's very difficult trying to get players. It's like if you imagine that Man United trying to maybe trying to sign players from the top teams in Europe over the last sort of few years. If you're trying to sign players from, say, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, or maybe whoever's like top, actually, I suppose you're not going to sign players from PSG, are you? Why would they leave them? Um, but we're going to have to start looking at, we're going to have to regard mid-table clubs as something similar now. They've got a lot of money as well. But yeah, I hope not, Rob. Yeah, at least it's not, I don't know. I'd say the things I was thinking of that are worse weren't exactly club names. They were probably a bit more offensive, but that's just the way my mind works. Kate says we will see things moving when the World Cup finishes. Yeah, could be worse though, Rob, couldn't it? Could be worse. So let's go into the chat. At the moment, it's 50-50 in the poll. So yeah, please vote on this one. See Mr. B in the chat representing Brentford. I expect Brentford are probably getting deals quicker than we are as well, aren't we? Big up to you, Ian, as well. People watching, and I did say this might be a shorter stream depending on like news coming out. But if you guys have got questions or comments you want to put in, one thing I did see that I don't know if Kazi's in the live chat, but Kazi did say that there was a story, and actually, I think Ryan sent it to me as well, and maybe somebody else said that apparently, I don't know if this is true, but apparently there's been an offer from a Saudi Pro League club for about £100 million for Bruno Fernandes, and Man United have said Bruno Fernandes is not for sale. So we might hear more about that, but potentially, based on last season, potentially with this one is, I think the Bruno Fernandes situation, it feels a little bit like, do you remember when Wayne Rooney went into Alex Ferguson's office and said, is this club serious about winning the title? I think Bruno Fernandes should make sort of similar demands. Like Bruno Fernandes, he's given like his peak years to Manchester United. Does he think Man United can actually build around him in the next 1 to 2 years' time? Because I don't think Bruno Fernandes is going to be at the top for like 10 more years, is he? He's there. He could be on the way down. I know some people think he's going to be on the way down rapidly, but looking at this, I think Man United need to, if they want to be serious about keeping Bruno, they probably need to show a bit more ambition. I don't think Bruno's going to be, particularly happy to stick around in a mid-table team for a few more years. I mean, it's going to mean if Spurs get Tonali, then that makes like Kenny. It must make the least sense ever, doesn't it? If we see a situation where Tonali goes to Spurs, what's he going to Spurs for? It's like his peak career years. He's got what maybe I don't know what he's expecting from Spurs. It just seems to be crazy. The only thing I can see that this is kind of like a Glazer thing, isn't it? Do you remember Man United when Manchester United miss out on Champions League football? And this is pretty true for maybe the last like 5, 6 years at least. When Man United missed out on Champions League, we don't spend much on transfers. Like we miss out on Champions. Say no, when we miss out on Champions League, sorry, we spend big to get back into the Champions League. And we saw last year we finished 15th. We spent relatively big. The players we bought were quite expensive by kind of the standard at the time. Although historically now they're actually looking like not bad deals. But when we get Champions League football in the past, what we've done is we've just got cheap crap signings that haven't pushed us on at all. And I'm hoping that the difference is going to be Ineos is going to be judged on this window as well. So if we don't get very good deals done, like you're saying, if we don't get good deals done now, it's going to be a struggle to get back into Champions League. Danny says, I now feel like we're only going to sign two midfielders. I mean, getting two midfielders is it's not enough, but it wouldn't be too bad if those midfielders were the top quality ones. If one of them is Edison, like you can't be getting two midfield signings. For me, that is nowhere near enough. So yeah, we're on options D. It's possible. It is possible. Yeah, looking at this one. So yeah, this window, when the window is finished, and we can look at it, but we're not going to know for another couple of months. But when the window is closed, we'll be able to have a sensible conversation, won't we? And we'll be able to see what the ambition of this club is. At the moment, we know we can see what Spurs' ambition is. Spurs' ambition is make sure we get back into the Champions League as soon as possible. And there's fair play to Spurs; they're doing what they should be doing. Um, so remember Ornstein saying, yeah, Ornstein said he thought we would be the busiest in the window. I mean, if he's counting being busy as in like phoning up agents and going, oh, that's a bit expensive. I don't think we can afford that one. Then yeah, we're going to be really expensive, aren't we? So really, really busy. But if he's talking about actually players getting through the door, then I don't know. At this point in time, Man United look like we're going to be getting less deals done than Spurs, which I don't know. So if you hear people blaming Carrick next season because Ineos didn't back him enough, so I'm busting out the whiskey. Is there any occasion when you're not busting out the whiskey? You know, so like weather's hot, get the whiskey out. I suppose when the weather's hot, you need a bit of ice in that as well, possibly. Now we can maybe do a stream at the end of the window where we can evaluate it, but maybe also I think it's important to also compare it with the teams we're against. Like if we see Man United doing not much business, and if you're looking at maybe Spurs doing much more deals, then it's going to be a bit of a concern, isn't it? Yeah, Danny, that of course not. Of course not. An academy player coming out of the academy and getting first team minutes does not count as a signing at all. That Lucky Singh, you were telling me that Matheus Fernandes was like, here we go, pretty much, and now we're plotting to spend what 65 to 70 million on Tyler Adams or Alex Scott. So 65 to 70 million pounds on Adams or Alex Scott. This is like too much, isn't it? Like 60 to 70 million for Sander Berg. Get me Bawadi, get me out Sangari at these prices. Like I don't know how much we can get Sangari for, but there seems to be no value. I'm not going to say there's no value in the market. Clearly, there's a market value in the market that's gone up. If the Glazers are going to be this tight-fisted with a budget, though, we're going to have to look outside the Premier League to get the certain quality. Like, there's no way that Adams is like worth 60 million, 65 million, and if Alex Scott is costing the same amount of money, we just got to like abandon the Premier League. This Premier League proven thing is just it's too expensive. Like, if there's a player in the Premier League like a Wayne Rooney, if there's someone coming through that's an exceptional talent, I'm completely okay with that. But if you're looking at just overspending for the sake of it, it just does not make any sense at all. You're saying that you think that Ugarte is going to go to Inter Milan. Are you sure? Inter Milan must have been like laughing all the way to the bank when they got rid of Ugarte, so got rid of Anana. Do you think Ugarte is going to go to Inter Milan? I don't know. Just a quick question: has Ugarte done anything in the World Cup which justifies someone going for him? I haven't seen it for me so far. I'd say United says after weeks of talking to West Ham, Enos are proving that they do not know how to handle a challenging window currently. I'd say I hope you prove them wrong. Am I alone in thinking that this is one of the like it's a pivotal transfer window, isn't it? This is a sort of transfer window where yeah, you have to get it right. So I watched a bit of Uruguay, but I didn't. It was quite a poor game, and yeah, no one's. I don't think anyone's inquiring about those at all. I think this window is like massive. Like if Man United mess it up and we don't get Champions League football, that just makes every player like they're going to cost more next season as well, and it means Man United will be more desperate, and Man United will have to spend more, but our budget will be less, so we'll have to borrow more money. If we get the window right this year's got to be we've got to draw a line in the sand from that 15th place and go right. We finished third. We've got to make sure we finish like third or fourth, or maybe fifth at a stretch if that's getting Champions League football. But we should be maintaining like third or fourth position, hopefully, and we should be spending accordingly. Otherwise, then we're just asking for trouble because players will chase the money. Like we can't pretend they won't chase the money. Players will go to the better deals because Man United have done this themselves. We've spent more money. We've got better players. We can't expect players to just choose Man United because of other reasons as well. We've So that's but also, if you haven't clicked like, I think we're on about 16 likes so far. Try and push the likes up as well. Help YouTube recommend the content. And I said it's very hot today, so it's not going to be the longest stream. So if you've got any sort of comments or questions you want to get in over the next 5 minutes, try and get them in. I'll try and go through them as best I can. But at the moment, most of the news out there is not particularly positive, and it's getting a bit annoying, to be honest. I think with this one as well, I did say that I thought Michael Carrick got the best out of the squad between January and the summer, got the best performances, kind of like possible, I suppose. We got more points than Arsenal and City over that sort of time period. And if Michael Carrick gets a shit transfer window, let's be honest, a lot of people will turn on him quite quickly. And I think it's going to make it difficult for him to be successful. There's no doubt that once you throw in the mix of Champions League football, the squad last season would struggle massively as well. If Agate stays, it's just akin to signing like a shit player, isn't it? We know Agate's not good enough. If Agate stays, then there's a massive problem at Man United, isn't there? Can you imagine Agate playing next season after 2 crap years? And it would mean also some of the things that Man United have been pushing out there, saying that they've got a 2 year plan. If a player doesn't work out over 2 years, they move them on. It's just so frustrating, isn't it? I would say Ineos didn't expect a new owner to come into West Ham that's happy to inject £90 million. Is that what's happened with West Ham? That I haven't really seen too much. I know there's a few stories which I avoided that were linked to their co-owner, but yeah, there's a few reasons why I didn't want to talk about those sort of things. I would say the Premier League proven thing feels like PTSD from poor recruitment, going for players barely surviving at the bottom of the table isn't proven. No, I would say if you're looking at Premier League proven, then it's just about risk, isn't it? So if you're going to compare one player that plays in the Premier League with a similar player in a different league, then maybe Premier League there is some merit to it. But if anybody thought Premier League proven was the most important thing, then Lamans was like our best signing last year. Like Lamans was out of the Premier League. He was playing in the which league was he playing in now? Was he playing? So he was playing in the league not many people watch, and he's been a really good signing. And also, we talked about Cherky last year as well. Cherky was a really good signing, and he was half the price of some of the players we bought. Rob says Barada seems a tight get. Yeah, City didn't pay like much more than 60, 70 million, did they? The issue is that Barada might have in his mind that he wants to pay like 70 million tops. That seems to be like a reason why we're not going for Anderson, we're not going for Tonali, and we might not get Fernandez, and that might be the reason. Like it's a reason, and it might be like Rob, you might be right, but it seems that the transfer fees have gone up loads in the last 18 months. So what you thought, where you thought £70 million was, it's probably like I said this like a few days ago. Like 90 is probably the new 70. So if Barada thought £70 million was like the price point to pay a year ago, 2 years ago, you got to start looking at £90 million. Like everything's got more expensive, and 60 or £70 million now gets you players that it gets you like a Langer, it gets you Gittins, it gets you Wissa. It's not getting you players that transform your team anymore. So unfortunately, prices are going up. No, it's just a. I think it's an excuse sometimes, isn't it? Like when Man United don't sign an elite player from a different league, we use the Premier League proven excuse, and then when we go to the Premier League, we say they're too expensive. So it makes it really difficult. So either you sign players like cheap players from the Premier League, which aren't going to be the best Premier League players, or you just accept that you might have to spend 60 to 70 million pounds on a player that potentially might be an elite player in a few years' time, but they don't play in the Premier League currently. It's poor, isn't it? I think the scouting information is there. Like if Man City got information on players, Man United will have the same information. So there's no reason why we can't do the same deals that other clubs are doing. Okay, saying it's really important we build this new stadium because the increased capacity, so ramping up ticket prices. So it needs to happen. We need to increase revenue to make sure it's pushing out. Yeah, it's the thing is like what you're saying there, Cake, is you push up revenue. The thing that's annoying is that if you get a 100,000 seat stadium, you'd think, okay, you can still have like some sensible pricing. But it does seem to be that Man United would look at hiking up the prices. I read something actually about 10 minutes before I started the stream, and it was some of the highest tickets at Arsenal are like £6,500 a year to watch Arsenal take corners. It's so expensive. The season ticket prices at Spurs are incredibly expensive. So it would be that. The thing that's frustrating is that with the extra pricing. Like Man United's got a big fan base. I think a lot of people will not be prepared to pay that sort of increase, like if they're talking about crazy increases. But Manchester United is already super commercially successful, isn't it? So the money should be there without this as well. So it's starting to get just beyond greed, I think, regarding this one. Be up niche fan in the chat. So let me go through a few of the comments as well. Say sign cheaper Sangari to play alongside Mainu. I think Mainu's quality. I think Mainu's a quality player. I think Edison will be decent. I think Sangari will be an excellent signing as well. So and I've always said that if we're going to go outside the Premier League, Sangari and Buwadi are probably my two top targets. But it's just ridiculous, isn't it? Be it Shunichi, you're saying we're not going to get any top players for years. I mean, if Man United didn't buy, I'm not saying we should spend like 100+ million, but we should be going So, but the value in the market going up, that Man United always spent the most money when they're getting players. So Rio Ferdinand was the most expensive player. So Rio Ferdinand was like an Anderson deal of his time, where he was incredibly expensive. Ian says we went from buying the best of English players, so now there's no value in the market when the Glazers bought us, and so I doubt it will change until they go. No, it seems that for some reason we've got owners that think they can somehow catch up and overtake other teams by spending less money. And let's be realistic as well. Then, so Lady came out of Stadium News said, we'll have to see. We're not going to know God on that one. But it does seem to be that Man United want to catch up by spending less. And I was going to say, I know Man United, like throughout the 90s, early 2000s, Manchester United didn't always spend the most money, but we certainly didn't spend like a small amount of money. And we certainly broke the transfer record a few times. And now what we're seeing is Man City are basically the new Man United. Man City are monopolising the Premier League. They're winning it most seasons. When they don't win it, they come second. And if they come second, they just start spending more and more money. So Man City are doing exactly what Manchester United used to do. The frustrating thing is like Manchester United have got the money. Like Man United have got wealthy owners. They're just choosing not to put the money in. But also, Manchester United's turnover is not much different to City's. I know there's debt, but that's not going to affect Man United spending. We seem to be obsessed with like cutting costs. So it's almost like we're just obsessed with trying to make the club more valuable and then sell it. So it's almost like we're asset stripping the club, where we're moving on everything that's an expensive liability, replacing it with cheaper players, and hoping to get top four. It's I just can't see how it's going to work out. But I know we can look at options, like we can all look at Buwadi, Sangare, and find other options. But do you think can Man United actually spend less than other clubs and close the gap? Like, does anybody think that's possible? Because it seems that that's what our plan is to try and do. No, they're not going to go anywhere, are they? Don says, you've seen this before. A club going to snatch a signing, the other club stays silent, then they sign the player. No fuss. So maybe just a quick question then. So you can just put a comment in the chat. The panic polls actually and the are Glazers messing up the transfer window? It's kind of 50-50. So half the people watching think the Glazers are going to mess up this window, or Ineos, whoever you blame for the transfers, or whoever you credit for the transfers if it goes well. So there's not a lot of confidence regarding this one. And yeah, no, Man City definitely cheated, but you'd feel that Man City had to play by the rules now, that they're going to be closely monitored. So if Man City can spend, like, Liverpool spent 500 million, and Liverpool are spending, yeah, yeah, the debt's not really too much to worry about as well. I don't think the debt's too much to worry about because businesses use debt as long as the debt is manageable, and I think the debt is manageable because Man United's profits keep going up. If you consider how much the debt is, then Spurs have got about 1 billion debt as well. I think Spurs debt is as much as Man United's, and so yeah, it does. It just looks a little bit like if Man United were going to sell, then if you want to increase profit, you reduce running costs. But it depends. Like, is it more profitable for Manchester United to like if Man United get top four every single season, we're not winning trophies. Are Man United still making as much money as they would be if they won the league? Because I think that's the difference. That I think you could. I think if you're winning the Premier League, Man United could certainly get more money out of sponsorship deals. You may not be getting much more in prize money, but it seems a bit crazy to gamble with like cheap signings, hoping you get Champions League football as well. Yeah, this is exactly what I was saying, Yarli. That if you're looking at trying to sell business, like EBITDA and like accountancy stuff that people are interested in, if you look at your earnings before amortization and you look at the debt, you look at your running costs, if you reduce the club's expensive players and you sign cheaper players, then the running costs of the club are going to be a lot lower. Your liabilities are reduced. If you're looking at, and if those younger players can get top four every single season, then you're still bringing in good profit. And then it might make it so that someone looking to buy the club, it might seem in a better position. Like financially, the books will look a lot nicer, put it that way. So if you want to push the share price up, it might be a way of doing that as well. So it just makes me a bit suspicious that some of these decisions being made are not exactly in the best interest of the playing. Like for me and most people watching, I think most people are interested in terms of finances is like, can we buy the best players possible to make our team better? I think that's what most people look at. So if you want to vote in the poll, I'll give you like a minute, then I'll close it so I can discuss it before the stream finishes. Kate says we're paying 50 million a year on interest. A lot of clubs are paying the same. Cake. A lot of clubs are paying money to service debt. It's just a way of doing it. Like if you consider it, Manchester United were paying, um, say, Casemiro a fortune in salary as well. So let's close the poll. But 50-50. So I'm not really surprised. If you're just to put out a positive message as well, if you think Man United are going to get the transfer window done well, what is it that makes you think that's going to happen? I'm not defending debt, Cake. I'm just saying that every single business, like it's actually cost effective to have debt. If you have profit, you pay taxes. If you have debt, it allows you to restructure things it allows you to keep more money of the business in house. So Man United's got a turnover of about what 670. It's going to be close to 700 million. Manchester United's got a turnover of like close to three-quarters of a billion projected in the next year or so. And running a debt on a business allows you to take advantages of certain things. Let's be honest, like that all top businesses use debt as a way of making more money for their company. So it's not a surprise. It's just if it's spiraled out of control, it'd be a problem. But unfortunately, that's just how it is as well. So smaller scales of debt. Yeah, I think with this one, it depends on how like with football revenues going up and up and up, then I think with Man United that it's not run very well, is it? So the problem is that if Man United gets Champions League football every single season, do you remember like a year ago that they did say something like Man United's budget was Europa League budget. So now we've got Champions League, we should be looking at spending more. We're gonna have to see if that's going to be the same sort of thing. Have they spent the money on the land? It has to be asked. I thought they were, yeah, with the land, I'm not sure. I think the land was going to be a bit cheaper, but they're probably going to be, yeah, they're probably going to be, I don't know what's happened with Asda. The people are talking about Asda, but no. But until recently, Pulp was right. I used to moan about Man United spending money on the wrong sort of players, but it was never about like Man United not spending enough. Now, when we've identified a few targets that feel like better options, it feels like we're just not spending enough money. Like if we Man United gets priced out of again, I'm not going to lose any sleep over Mathis Fernandes. Like I don't think Mathis Fernandes transforms Manchester United into a championship, Champions League winning team or a Premier League winning team. But it's kind of indicative of if Manchester United really, if they really thought Mathis Fernandes was the right player, we should just get this deal done. And why we're taking so long? It might be that I know patience isn't something I've got, and it's not something a lot of other people got. And it might just be that maybe Sully's right, and there's nothing to worry about, and maybe this deal gets done on the 1st of July, and we all start going, oh, okay, this is a good signing number 2 done. So again, it could be like this. So every little helps. I mean, it'd be nice to get a little bit in, wouldn't it, Rob? That when we say every little helps, that at the moment, I think they could be using that slogan as they make people redundant at the club, couldn't they? So Ineos are trying to repair mistakes, years of mistakes. Yeah, they are. I suppose they are trying to repair years of mistakes, and you are right saying there is potentially a bit of mistake of their own to repair as well. Big up to you, Solly, as well. Yeah, no, everything. Yeah, everything is run on debt. So no one's got any money at all. It seems, apart from the football players, where all the money seems to be going towards. So, from the sound of it, the most positive thing we could do is support Spurs. No, look, Rob nearly jumped ship. He changed his username. I'm assuming as a joke as well. Um, yeah, no, is there any reason why Man United don't get deals done this one? Then is there a potential like some of these situations that people are talking about, like running a lower salary base, like moving players on with big salaries. And it does seem to be like Man United somewhat asset stripping, somewhat like reducing the costs. I think okay, I'll say this: some of the cuts were probably necessary. That Man United did have a bloated staff, and some of the players we let go, we need to let go. But are we getting to the stage now where, like Bob was saying, do we need to get some sort of mega rich owner? Is football becoming that sort of situation where like, is the end game going to be quite soon? Like, everybody thought that Man United were after more investment. Maybe this is a way of actually getting it as well, because if they can not spend too much money, maybe people coming in and maybe they need investment to get people into the club, possibly. And Dan B says we won't panic till pre-season. So actually, pre-season, I believe, is like, what is it, 7th or 8th of July? So that gives you, or was it August? And I think actually Man United players are supposed to be coming back over the month of July, depending on how well they do. I think preseason then starts after that. So yeah, you got quite a while to go then. Um, yeah, maybe to finish the stream, like Big Dog says, all roads lead to Belieber and Hackney. So just type in one player you think Man United is definitely going to sign just at 9th of July. I thought it was something like that. It's the 9th rang a bell. That's actually quite soon, isn't it? So I suppose the teams that get knocked out now, they're going to get what, like a week off or so, then they're going to come back. So maybe a couple of weeks from now. Yeah, that kind of rang a bell. And I thought actually that's quite soon. But I suppose it's the World Cup's going to be really long, isn't it? So teams will get knocked out, and the World Cup's going to go on for ages. Okay, so players we might sign. Niche fans started the bidding with Hackney. Okay, I don't mind Hackney, but when I say don't mind Hackney, I was expecting like a Too or a Bois. I was expecting like a couple of good signings. Like for me, Hackney is going to be one as one of the what's the word, lesser exciting players we could sign. So it's going to be Bergval, isn't it? Uh, I don't know. Somebody asked me about Bergval, and I was like, "What? He can't be a top target suddenly." No, there is potentially, unlikely as it is, there is potential that Bruno Fernandes could be potentially going. Not Thiago, says Mr. B. No, I think Thiago might be too expensive for us, Mr. B. Maybe luckily for you. Fernandez, Edison, and who? So you think Fernandez is still a done deal, Solly? So Fernandez is this year's believer, player way overvalued. Sanderberg has been mentioned. Yeah, no, I mentioned Sanderberg, and to be honest, I was kind of like more enthusiastic about 4 or 5 years ago when Sanderberg was first mentioned. I'd imagine then he's just going to be more and more expensive, and it's going to be frustrating. Um, Orozco doesn't count, but didn't we agree that deal ages ago? I'm sorry to you think we got Fernandez. If we get if we do get Fernandez done, then I'm gonna have to go back over like kind of my Twitter history and find out all the accounts that were heavily pushing like Spurs as the option and start deleting those and not following these accounts because there's been a hell of a lot of media pushing this. There's actually been some what was I going to say? I've seen like there's a few. I don't follow many Spurs accounts, but there's been a few Spurs kind of in the know type accounts that have been posting stuff saying they think it's close to being done. So Spurs seem to be pretty confident as well, like really confident. Somerville, yeah, Cunha's looking top quality, isn't he? What's everyone's limit for Fernandez? Mine 65, achievable. I think 65 seems fair, actually. Hackney, Belieber, Somerville. Yeah, we may have to start finding some new names that are cheaper and start hyping those players up. Your basis prediction based entirely on vibes, that's fine. I mean, that's probably about the same as we get on social media. And maybe like Fabrizio is like 50% vibes these days. It says, if we don't sign Sangare more so than any, so you think we'll regret it if we don't sign Sangare? Yeah, how much is Sangare? But I keep saying this as well, that I think he's like definitely the sort of player that if he goes to the Premier League and has one good season and does anything like what he's done last season, his price skyrockets. I just think there's a couple of players like that. Like for me, Buwadi was a player we should have got a year ago. I think he's just getting to the price now where yeah, Buwadi might end up being as expensive as Matheus Fernandes, as crazy that it is. Yeah, it's tricky. 67 plus 10, that's a lot of money, isn't it? A lot of money. I did see this. Yeah, Ryan. I mean, trying to not highlight it too much for our Scottish friends in the chat, but no, he's looking quite good actually. Yeah, a lot of the in the no accounts. To be honest, actually, I think 95% of them just retweet the same account. So there's probably nowhere near as many as you think there are, but there's like one or two accounts that post information out and loads. You're English English today. uh, do you say you're? I can't remember what you said last night though. Is like one of your parents is Scottish, one of them's half Scottish, half English. Is that right? So you've got 25% stake in the England team now. Yeah, Sangari is one that if we see some news, maybe Sangari would be someone I could go for. I'm kind of holding out for information on Sangari and Buadi to see if they're going to leave because yeah, that for me they're go-to targets. Yeah, Buadi, great. Morocco, tough game last night from Morocco, but they scored 4 goals. And I only saw highlights because it was very late at night. But no, I think Buadi, considering Buadi's 18, let's see how he does in when he gets to the knockout stage in the business end of the tournament. Because I think in Morocco, I'm trying to think, what did Morocco do in this tournament? They drew Brazil. Did they win their second game and then win their third game? So I'm guessing that they get 2 wins. Oh, yeah, they beat Scotland 1-0, didn't they? Then they won 4-2 last night. So, and Morocco are doing quite well. Like Morocco will give. I don't know who. The World Cup is like too much to take in, so I don't know who's going to play each other. But when it gets to knockout stage, I think it's going to be really good. There's no way. So yeah, there's no way Mathis Flanders. When you put MF, I was thinking something else then, thinking, hang on a minute. But it just goes to show the way my brain works. But yeah, there's no way this MF Mathis Fernandez is more money than Mbuemo or Cunha. I agree. I agree. There's no way that he should be that much money. So, um, yeah, no, Morocco look good, and Boadi looks like a key part of that team as well. So, unfortunately, I think Boadi is just going to cost more and more and more and more. Um, Manzambi as well is one definite. Who's the guy that plays for? I can't remember his name now. There's a striker. I can't remember who he plays for now. I think he's got an I at the end of his name, but he's been on fire. There's been so many good goals, so many good goals. I'll say actually there was the first goal last night for was it the first goal for Haiti? There was a goal I saw. I can't remember who scored it. It was ridiculous, like a ridiculous finish. We're seeing so many good finishes, but there's a football player, striker. I think his name ends with an I, and every time I see him, he's just like looks pretty good. And I can't remember if I've seen him linked to another club. I don't know whether he's like moved to. Is there a player that's gone to Juve? That's but no. It's kind of there's like too many matches to watch, but I do watch highlights for a lot of matches. I think it's going to be. Was it the second goal? The second goal was outrageous. It was just such a good finish. Even like the goal for Haiti last night was so good. Moroccan fans in the stadium, I could see them going like it was ridiculous. It was such a good finish that it was one of those sort of finishes where the rival fans celebrate and go, "Fair play, that was a great goal." So no, I enjoyed it. Oh, this is it. Yeah, he's gone to Bayern. So who does Saberni play for? Because whenever I've seen him, he looks like a proper player. That's it. I'll pronounce this wrong when I Subieri, is it? But no, he looked really good. When I've seen him play, I just for there's so many teams I've been watching, I've kind of forgotten who's playing for who. There's like my brain's gone like to mush. But no, I saw him and thought he looks really good. Like he was like looked like a clinical finisher as well. But to be honest, at the moment, the way the ball's flying in the back of the net, I think we're going to see someone like with a golden boot on about 10 goals. So I wouldn't be surprised if Embuemo overtakes Messi, and then Messi comes back in, and we see Cunha with more goals. Haaland's going to get more goals, so it's going to be a crazy World Cup. I think, based on what I saw recently, Harry Kane better step up in the last match because England want to make sure they finish top of that group if possible. Yeah, maybe if the add-ons are significant, it's going to be yeah. Oh, is it Morocco? Okay. Because what I tend to do is I tend to watch back-to-back highlights of about four games and then forget which which players. But no, he looks good. So I think Morocco potentially might be. I don't think are they the best African team? I mean, they look pretty good. I think even like South Africa won last night, so there might be a few teams going through. I think Senegal are decent, but they've got was it Ivory Coast? They got some difficult groups. Some of these teams. Yeah, no, I liked him. Thought it was good. BHU Dabasis, I'm going to wrap up on the hour mark today. It's just like way too hot. There might be a stream like 7 o'clock, but I'm not sure. If there's no more news, I know Kieran was available tonight, so I might try and do something, but it's tricky. If you want to leave a comment on the video of anything potentially want to cover, if there's enough enthusiasm to do a stream tonight, I might try and do one, but it's getting difficult to come up with so news stories, but I'm not coming up with them. It's difficult to find anything different that we haven't already covered relentlessly. But if you guys are happy with shorter streams, we might try and do a couple a day. But it's difficult. I might start doing short videos. But yeah, we're all melting here. We're melting. It won't be a wrap, but it will be a finish. Thank you for watching. Everyone that's a channel member, thank you for supporting the channel as well. And moderators, thanks for keeping the chat a safe place to be. And Rob, you got 2 weeks to decide whether you want to fully commit to the Spurs name, but I suggest you become Rob Always United in a couple of weeks' time. But thanks everybody for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.